Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where horror fans proved once again to be one of the most reliable demographics for Hollywood. The Evil Dead remake scored the #1 spot, right in line with other recent horror remakes like Texas Chainsaw 3D, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween. But note that Evil Dead did come in below Elm Street and Friday the 13th, meaning that Ash still isn't quite as popular as Jason and Freddy. Still, after Oz the Great and Powerful, this is Raimi's second #1 debut of the year, a triumphant return to form after losing the Spider-Man franchise and misfiring with Drag Me to Hell back in 2009. By the way, all those other horror remakes dropped 70% or more in their second weekends, so if you want to see Evil Dead in theaters, you better do it quick. Next, it's a photo finish for second and third place, but no matter how it sorts out, The Croods and G.I. Joe Retaliation are both winners. The Croods has become only the second film of 2013 to pass the 300 million mark worldwide. The first is Oz. With that in mind, as well as its scant 21% drop this weekend, the cave writing on the wall seems to indicate another win for DreamWorks Animation. But why does it always have to be such a close call? As I noted in my review for The Croods, DreamWorks Animation might want to consider swapping out its current publicity department with a new, more competent staff. Now, while G.I. Joe Retaliation might have dropped closer to 50% in its second weekend, overseas it's already brought in almost $150 million. That's how much the first G.I. Joe flick grossed overseas for its entire run. Imagine how much money they'd have made if they'd released the film on time. Looks like Paramount was smart to bet so heavily on John Chu and are likely breathing a sigh of relief that they've already locked him down for their Masters of the Universe reboot. Then roaring into fourth place, is that an oxymoron, is Jurassic Park 3D. The prehistoric blast from the past couldn't quite match the opening of the Phantom Menace 3D, but still managed to turn some heads with its impressive performance on IMAX screens. There seems to be a definite audience interest in 3D dinosaurs, with the real test being December's Walking with Dinosaurs flick from Fox. As for the rest of the weekend box office, everyone just tried to get out of the way of last weekend's Temptation and the Host, as they both tumbled over 50% in their second frames. Spring Breakers also fell over 50% in its fourth weekend, falling back out of the top 10 to boot. I guess it's not spring break forever. But the specialty market still posted some nice numbers with solid debuts for Trance and The Company You Keep, while The Place Beyond the Pines expanded to 30 theaters from 4 and held its also solid per theater average. Sure, solid isn't as good as impressive, but with this year's weak box office, movies should just take what they can get. And as we gear up for the summer movie season, which is just a few weeks away at this point, let's take a look at how the year is shaping up so far. Here in the US, Oz is the most successful movie of the year, while The Croods will soon hop over Identity Thief for second place. G.I. Joe Retaliation and Mama round out the top 5. Worldwide, Oz and The Croods are also in the front of the pack, followed by A Good Day to Die Hard, G.I. Joe Retaliation, and Hansel and Gretel. But at the end of the year, 300 million won't even get a movie into the top 15. So get ready to see some real box office numbers in just a month or so. Shock and awe, baby. What will be the first movie to reach $1 billion this year? Easy money is on Iron Man 3. A more interesting question is how many movies will join the $1 billion club this year. Last year, a new record was set with 4. Yes, The Hobbit did make it. As for this coming weekend, 42 and Scary Movie 5 are expected to battle it out for first place. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.